Welcome to the Language of Markets live sessions. It's Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday, the 26th of June. We're talking about being a slacker. It's not easy to be a slacker. It's not easy to do less. Actually, you get a lot more done by doing less, which is kind of tricky, right? It's an art. Thank you, Grace. It is. It's actually something you got to unlearn, I think, right? You got to unlearn all the doing and all the effort and all that. All the stuff that's got us where we're at. You can't see the charts? I knew I was forgetting something. Boom, there we go, charts. Sounds good. All right, so let's see what we can learn today. I'm going to follow up some things. We're going to do some more foundational practice on the process. Before we start, actually, let's just pick right up with something, because I do have something I want to do. Let's pick up where we left off over here with the ES for a second. Let me just babble for a bit. About these sessions. So I don't want to lose sight of something with what we're doing here. You know, it's been a busy month, right? I got a lot of things that I want to do around here, a lot of things planned. Bit overwhelmed at the moment with stuff, so just like everybody else, I got to take things one step at a time. So I never want to forget something when it comes to trading, though. All right? And this is the whole foundational mindset approach we want to take to everything. Everything we do. Because without this, the rest just kind of falls on its face. Basically, the mindset I want to adapt about everything is one of learning. You heard me talk about this. Learning. We want to learn from Price, have Price teach us about itself, about us. And when I say a mindset of learning, sometimes we catch on. We have some breakthroughs. Everything's looking good. Sometimes things aren't looking so good, right? We have frustrations. We're trapped in a little contraction there. And we need a mindset of everything is our teacher, right? If we can set that in stone to get started with, everything is our teacher, that means every missed trade, every screw up, every frustration, every success, every time Price does something you didn't expect it to do, every time you tried to do something and it didn't work or it did work. If we can just keep learning, and we are learning machines, we're no different than a child. A child's a little learning machine. But we have to undo some stuff. We still got it. So we want everything to be our teacher. We can get frustrated if we missed it. We can get frustrated that we saw it, didn't do it. We can get happy that we're having a really good month. Boom, boom. And no wonder you're so busy. Grace says, it looks a lot like the CAD yen. This one, Grace? The CAD yen we looked at the other day? I don't know. That sucker took off. This one's going down. That one's going up. We'll have to look. Before it took off. All right, save that thought. All right, save that thought because we're going to do something here. Save that thought. See, a lot of times we also, just like Grace said, this is learning too. We see something. We saw something earlier. We relate it. Okay, this is good. This is bad. We need to, come at this without too many expectations, because if we relate everything that we have going on in the present to something in the past and fix it, you kind of limit yourself, right? Everything gets related to that. That's how we get stuck with old baggage and stuff. And so we got to be careful of that. We do want to say, yes, that kind of looks like that. Maybe there's something to it, but also stay open. So I just wanted to throw that in there because we do that. I see things all the time in Price. It's like, oh, that looks like just like the yen, and that's good. That looks just like the CAD we looked at. And you start to put things together, but be careful about solid conclusions. It's a start. That's a start for learning. But back to everything is our teacher. So no matter what's going on, right? Everything's our teacher. So we want to drop our self-centered view and get a market-centered view. If we miss this, if we do a trade, blah, blah, blah. I try to show you what I do it day in and day out a little bit along with lessons. So we were looking at this. And so we want to learn. And I'm going to speak to what Grace just said, right, about something looking like something else. Just follow that thread for a minute. Let me back up and add one more thing I want to keep attention on besides everything's our teacher. You'll hear me say that a lot. This is how we get through frustrations in trading also. And how we get through the good times, because good times will go to bad times eventually. And we need to learn from everything that goes on. But there is something, right, I'm going to get back to doing these kind of things. There is something I'd like us to put our attention on for the next week or so. Just think about this. Right? I'm going to switch gears for a minute. I got a subject I want to keep our attention on. I want everybody to think about, what is effortless effort? Okay? Is that even possible? Good day, Adam. How you doing? What's effortless effort, Adam, right? I want to just think about this for a minute. And this has to do with the slacker thing, right? The doing and not doing. What is effortless effort? Is it even possible? I mean, we can ground this, right? We can ground this. We can ground this not just in trading, but in anything we do in life, right? Moving with intention, with little to no resistance. That's a beautiful answer, Grace. Yes. It's a very subtle thing to let your intention move you. Yes. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there yet. Geez, you're way ahead. That's it. But effortless effort. So let's just ground it in something simple, okay? You know, think about anything you might do. Doesn't matter. And just as you go through your day, sense how you can do it with as little effort as you need, but as much that is needed. What I'm talking about is an alignment with things, with which Grace said, little to no resistance. So anything, this is a simple alignment. It's no different than the alignment in your car for your wheels. If your wheels are out of line, your car, you try to go straight, they're going to wear the tires. It's a friction. It's a resistance. And so effortless effort, how do we apply that to trading? Because our effort doesn't do much good here. So we have to be very intelligent about what we do with our effort here. It's not like we can hammer and force things into place, right? So just put your attention on that for a while, and then we'll just keep talking about it. These things, they don't have an answer immediately, but Grace's answer was pretty much spot on. It's pretty close. Moving with intention, with little to no resistance. Letting your intention move you. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What about their intention? How about if we switch that, Grace, and let their intention move us? Now we're getting into something cool, huh? Following is good. Aligning with them is good. But we do have to, at some point, we do have to not be behind in following. Do you get that? Following is like part of the steps, right? You listen, you follow, you join. And so following is like a practice. It's like a separating the practice of effortless effort out. Following is good. It gets us in the right mindset. We quit trying to tell it what to do. But then, right, and here's sort of the tricky part. It's no longer following if you're able to anticipate. True, but isn't the anticipation kind of what starts to get us into trouble, right? We start to witness the clash between what we want and what is. But I'm talking about something a little more subtle, right? If you can follow their intention. And we'll get to that. I'm just taking what Grace said and moving it to the next level. Moving with intention, right? How about letting their intention move you? And that's a step before following. I mean, that's right inside of it. All right, just something to think about, right? It's theory, blah, 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 but you can ground it in your life. It's alignment. Think about how you can do whatever it is you do with as little effort as possible, but as much as needed. And that can just be standing, walking, opening the refrigerator door, something. Using a lever to carry a dolly to carry a refrigerator, right? Using its weight. Just something to think about. All right. Boy, Grace on fire today. We're going to have to move on to the next subject about relating things. Just saying you can understand where the puck is going if you understand its nature. True, Nate, right? True, Nate, but I imagine you're going to a hockey analogy there. Gretzky or somebody, right? But that will come from the intention of the guy who smacks the puck. And so you can get in front of that even. But it's true, right? If you can see the road that they are on, you know where they have to turn. All right? If you can back up and see the road that they are on, you know where they have to make a decision to turn around, go forward, or go off the cliff. All right? So that's all part of it. That's all part of it. So these are interesting things to think about. Now we're going to get down to some brass tacks. Hey, Grace, I just had an experience of that last weekend outside of trade. Beautiful. See, we need to take this outside of our trading, right? This is life. Every principle we talk about, contraction, expansion, continued behavior, change in behavior, alignment, following, it all applies in life, no matter what we're doing. So we can train. Listening is probably the utmost skill we should train in. Pure listening. Pure listening. Not self-centered. What's it mean to me? What's it mean for me? This is all the stuff in trading that makes a difference. If I don't have this stuff straight, no matter how pretty my lines, I will screw it up. And so we need to work on this stuff a little bit, right? We need to work on this stuff a little bit. And so, yeah, we need to see it going on, and we can ground it, and then we get personal insight. Then you don't have to hear me talk about it. Then you say, yeah, Shane's kind of close, but I got the real thing. And that's what we need. And then we can see it in trading, right? Because if we can manage our lives that way, if we can see it going on, we can see it going on here. This and our lives, they're not two separate things. It's not, oh, we come to trading and then we go do our real life. No. No. It's all one thing. Treat it as one thing. Hi, Phil. You always miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky said. Yeah, he's got a lot of good ones, doesn't he? Hockey player. And that falls into practice, right? Practice and learn from everything. Take your shots. Take your shots. If there's any magic in trading, it's the emotional, mental part. Yeah, I would rephrase that, but yeah. What I like to say is nothing works. Either we work or we don't work. All right, so now let's look at this. This is what we did live. I did a session on Monday. I said, just look. Now, we can actually apply some objective things we've learned here. So we're looking at an ES tick chart. And one of the things we can look at is we do understand what a V structure is. It's one of the first things we've learned, right? So we can mark out a V structure. I did this session a long time ago with sort of the main structures we need to study. Mountains, valleys, V's, coils, wash and rinses, gaps. This is the language of price. This is how we start to get the intention of price, right? It's telling a story. Now, with this technical work, we can say that's a V, right? We can define a V. It goes straight down and straight up. Now, if you have a V, we know how to at least start looking to draw on the V. So now we're going to take all my babble and we're going to put it to work, and I'm going to hit Grace's comment about, seeing similar things here in a minute. And so that's easy to draw on, right? We have a V. Price is going that way. The next thing we got is we got swings. We know how to do swings. We practice to see swings, right? Buyers don't hold, they give out, new low. That's our swing here. There's actually two V's in here because we do relative work. There's a smaller V and there's a bigger V. But we can just stick with this for now because with all the babble and all the teaching, trading comes down to just looking and listening. That's listening to price minus ourselves. All right, it's doing that. And then we can begin to, make decisions. And so what I did on Wednesday, and, it helped, or Monday, it helps if you're following along, otherwise you're kind of missing the thread. But what I did here on Wednesday is I said, let's just look at this. And we went like that and drew the swings. Right, just seeing in waves. And, we left it off somewhere around here. We talked about just flat out sellers. And you have a choice now. Do you want to sell with these guys? See, now we're getting into our work again. Do we want to push them? And so later that night, it helps if some of you who watch the ES keep an eye on what we've done here, because now we can learn. This is important. The trade itself is what Phil said, right? We got to practice. But it's the learning that comes from that we take into our next 1,000 trades. We're taking trading to a whole different level around here. Not just memorizing stuff. And so if you watched it that night, you can ask yourself, and, this isn't magic either. This is just probably the easiest thing I can teach that we can see because it helps us see the swings. All right? So if you watch this, and you watched it last night, we see the V. We know the V can pick up somewhere. We know that the coil, didn't hold. We know the V can pick up somewhere and cross. We don't know what it will do. But there's a feel to this, okay? And so we watched. It hit that line. Was this a magic line? No. I just drew it. You saw me. I drew it live. And then down we go. Now let's do some learning here. Let's say you watched the session and, you decided to get in on this trade somewhere afterwards. All right, where might your target be that makes sense? See, now we're just going to learn to draw a little bit. This is where, my experience in teaching comes in. Nate says, so many V's in the ES right now. Yeah, and so we adapt to that. So now, if you got in here, where would your target be? What could you use for a target? New low is the nice, easy, logical target. But what if we wanted to be super cool with our lines? I mean, look, I drew a magic line here and it hit. So, Nate, what if we wanted to be super cool and actually get target with our super cool lines? We could do that. Copy to the bottom of the V, right, Raj? So I want you guys to know that. Sometimes I will start with one line, okay? And if I take an entry here, you saw me do my work. We said, let's just look at this thing. I'm not looking at this. I'm not looking at multiple time frames. I'm not anticipating a wash. I'm not anticipating a run. I'm not predicting this. I'm not watching the news. I don't give a damn about the Fed or anybody else or tweets or anything. I see this. I'm focused. This is what price is doing. This is their intention. They're driving it down. I go with it or I don't go with it. So, as Raj said, if I draw one line like this and do that, now we're working with something with the lines, right, Raj? Now, Raj, remember we're talking about process. Let's say price comes down to that line. Let's say we've got this V here. Okay? And let's say you use some little swing to get in. And let's say price comes down to this line. Now we're talking process. Now what do we have, Raj? A sloped coil, very good, right? It's expanding into a sloped coil. It's doing its own little agenda. This is why I pick out the V out of all the other stuff. It's something significant. Good. Now, Raj, if we have a sloped coil, that's contraction, right? What can it do? It can stay in the coil, and will it expand eventually? Right? Yes. Right, Phil? Do we know whether it's going to expand up or down? No. But if it does expand up or down, could we draw another logical line? So we have this coil, right? Yes, we can do another logical line, right? What we can do is we can project out into space, either way, once it tells us, and use that as a measuring point. And if we do that, right, this is what Babson was doing, guys. This is what Andrews was doing. We're just pulling it out to the next level. If we do that, right, we're actually now talking median lines, AR lines. And if it doesn't make it down here, that's a Hagopian. If it recaptures that, right, this will then become the trend barrier. But this is all process. This is where traders have a hard time, the process part. But we can follow it, and then we can relate to just this simple line. And this is probably a simple, easy way to draw these sloped lines. There's other ways to draw center lines, guys. All you got to do is look through the center of a swing, right? There's other ways to draw, right? Boom, boom, boom. But this is a very easy way that we can learn and follow along and have something that's not so, subjective. So we don't know which way it'll expand, but we can project from what it's doing. And so now we're drawing lines. And you see, this little bit here that we're doing, people would like to charge thousands of dollars for a seminar for. Forget about it. Right? Forget the magic lines. It's going down. Friggin' get in. That's trading. All right? That's a logical target, right, Raj? We don't know. See, it's got our model in here. We don't know what price will do next. We can have our opinions. We can guess where the puck is, and there's nothing wrong with guessing where the puck is going as long as we don't get attached to that, right? We have to extrapolate where the puck is going, but we want to get in on their attention, right, Nate? Right? What are they doing? Look, just listen, right? Forget about it, right? We're grinding it. Forget about it. We ain't doing that no more. We tried. And all I did was focus on this. This isn't a past presentation. This was from the live stuff. And we have to work with live stuff in our lives here. First, understand which direction they're slapping the puck. Well, maybe you ought to understand the guy who's slapping the puck, Nate. Right? Take a look at him. It's no different than when you're driving. You can see you can see people ahead in traffic. You can see who the squirrely ones are. Right? You ever see that? Unless you're the squirrely one. Some of you might be the squirrely one. But when you look ahead in traffic, you can see the squirrely ones. Right? They're texting or they're scared or something. You can see the squirrely ones in traffic. You know when you get close, you got to watch out a little bit. It's like they're texting each other. Yeah. Probably just like walking into the thing with your iPhone. Boom, except now you have a 3,000-pound car. All right. So we watch now. Look, that's a logical target. That's a good, solid trade. Give me my money. See, look at it follow that line, that projection. we're going to do line work here. The reason I've been slow to do it is because it seems to get in the way. If you want, you could have put the line here as like a center. But either way, we want to do this. Now we're at this part, Raj. No, we're toying with it. All right, so now what do we do, Raj? Let's take this guy. And gauge it, all right? Zoom, retest. Now, what goes on? Okay, we're slopping around it a little bit. And down we go. So now we have an idea of where it's going. Yeah, maybe another V, right, Nate? We don't know. Now we have an idea of where it's going, at least what we can measure against. So now we're doing our projection work. Something like this, when I'm trading the ES, I'm generally doing like a little center of center, like this. See that? A little center of center. See how that lines up? A little center of center. See, there's a lot of worlds in here. Okay, so now, look, there's your V, Nate. Right now we have a thing, a line, giving us some information here. Now we're at this line. Now we watch, right? Now, don't get short here. Not here, right? This is its stretch. See, now we're not only following waves and frequency. We're not only following waves and frequency, but we're taking, when that changes a little bit, we're taking and we're projecting that out a little bit without getting attached. So we have a reference point to look at because it's growing into a bigger wave here. So this is a place where you'd want to, well, if you understand process, you can do any number of things here, right? You can just watch and wait. You can think about getting long, although it's tough getting long downsloping lines. See what I mean? There's a nice guy there, right? There's a nice guy there. And the same thing here, Raj. If it goes through this line, we're going to add another one, okay? And then we want to learn. Look at what we got when we get to the line here. If I'm up at 4 a.m., this thing zooms. I'm trying to get long here, at least for this ride. So now we're back. So the line is helping us with this wave now. See, look at the original wave. Do you guys see how the reaction line work we're doing can fit in? Except this time we found it before it happened, which is really cool. You thought about the long, but it was too late? Yeah. What you missed, though, Nate, was the easy short. Right? And so we want to think about that. I'm not hammering on you because I do these things too. Sometimes I'll line it up, won't even take the dang thing. This is a harder trade. This is an easy trade. Harder trade, easy trade. Now you're right into the gap, and now you can think about a short. It was there for about 30 seconds. Yeah, boom. That's okay, as long as we learn, that's all. And now we're back. So you can see how these waves actually started to invent themselves. All right? And you see how the work we did from one line up here unfolded in process. And so that's a cool thing to see. Beauty. All right. And myself, when I went to go trade the ES today, I didn't even think about that. Not even a thought. I'll tell you what I did. I went like this. Okay, there's a line. And then I went like this. All right? Simple work. All right. It's swinging. Do I want to sell it? Do I have a place to sell it? Do I want to get long? No, I don't really want to get long this thing now. Look. Feel it. Who wants to get long this thing now? I want other people to try and get long this thing. I want people to give me a bump off of that and then look for a place I can sell it. Spacebar, spacebar. Hey, come on. Come on, there it is. All right, this computer's like me. It's got a lag. There we go. So woe to the people picking on longs. The time to pick on longs was up here. All right? Not now. All right, now let's take this. Let's take this. And now I want to speak to something Grace said about it looking like something. I think these are important lessons to get across. So I want to do something that I did with a student. So take a picture of this. This is a nice V, right? We've got a little V going on. Everybody see it. So we know how to draw off the V. It's not that hard. We know how to draw off the V. We see a V, we draw off the V. Now, I went over something with a student. Let me find it here real quick. And I want to do some work. Let me just zap out some things for a minute. Just take a picture of this in your mind. What we've done here is take a V, all right, that's pointing down, and then we used a swing, a minor swing, to break. That's what we did in this guy. All right. Now, I want to take and show you and walk you through something. Just be patient. Give me a moment with this guy. Got to set it up so we don't really see what's going on. All right, so you see the V here. Now I'm going to work another V the same way. All right, so now we're going to work another V the same way, okay? When we see a V, we can draw on it. It's not hard. We understand that. We can draw on the V when we see a V. We can watch swings going up. Now let's follow this guy out a little bit. Now I'm going to take this market from here. This is where they gapped. It's not the exact same thing as that ES, but it ain't bad. It's not the exact same thing, but it ain't bad, okay? So imagine, you know, you're looking at this and drawing the same kind of thing. And you want to get short the slope. It's very similar to the ES, right? We just want to get short to the slope. Let me throw you something else in here that my student did that was brilliant, right? He got that this market was going down. He got it, right? Look at it. He got that this market was going down. He got that we just made a swing. He wanted to get in, and he got in along here and put stops here. And the beauty about what he did and how he explained it to me was he got this market and he wasn't really worried about being perfect or surgical here. Right? I could have shown him how he gets a better entry. But he got this market. He's going to use a healthy stop. And he wasn't real worried about, he got the flow. He's done really well with getting on the right side of the market. And one of the things that's helped him is I've told him to open your stops up a little bit and don't worry about it so much, right? Get in. Right? You're on the right side now. Get in. The more we try to be perfect and surgical, the more tense we get, the less we see things. And so he just saw this. And so although you have this line here, I say make it a zone. Right? Who cares, right? So if I do this, does this represent some kind of a truth? Sellers, 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 swing. Yeah, right? Everybody agree? This represents some kind of a truth. They actually hit this little zone and broke a little swing here. It's true, right? Good, yes. So we start with that. And he's like, yeah, I just want to hop on this market and go down. He's doing the same thing, right? I don't even think he's looking for that. I think he's looking for some big leg. I don't know. He was looking for something. I'm not sure what his target was, but he's getting in. So imagine you guys are getting short with this. And if you're getting short with this, I'd say, well, you're going with things. Not bad. Obviously, this might just be grinding through the way up. But now let's follow this market. So he takes a little heat. Imagine you're short. Were there better, more surgical entries? Sure. He doesn't care. He's gotten into a very relaxed mode with his trading, which after you've done the training, that's the next training, the relaxed part. If he takes a stop, guess what he's going to do? He's going to learn from it. All right. Things are working. Pretty happy. We can look at this market now. We can look and say, where are there going to be buyers? Right? That's not hard to do. We can look. We can say, where are there going to be buyers here? That's easy enough. That's easy enough to do. We can look and say, where are the buyers going to be hanging out in this guy? And just look, the gap, right? Does that make sense? There's going to be guys in the gap down there someplace. Okay. You can mark that. Now, at this point, he sees this as a tail. And he's moving his stop. You might want to keep your stop. He's moving his stop. He stopped out for a little bit of a profit. Right? Tail gets zoomed. We hit the sellers. Now, I want you guys to feel this market. Okay? Sense this market. Feel this market. You've got buyers. You've got sellers. You see them. You see them pressuring. You see where they are at. Feel the market, all right? You've got the lines drawn. Now, if you get stuck on just framing it, well, the ES went down because it looked like the ES, then you're going to get stuck in that. Maybe this isn't like the ES. But either way, if you want to sell it, you know where to sell it, don't you? Right here? If you want to buy it, you know where to buy it, don't you? Here or here? Okay, so Now he's out. He's somewhat clean. Feel these guys here. Feel the buyers pick it up, rip. They're making a swing. Feel the sellers hitting it. Feel it, feel it, feel it, okay? I want you to start sensing these things. True, buyers pick it up. Sellers hit it. Now, for the long side, does this feel pretty spunky? Right? Look at that. Right? Does that feel pretty spunky for the long side? It does, doesn't it, Grace? You get the feel for that? You sense that? It does. It feels pretty spunky, right? We just reversed off the gap. It feels really spunky. We don't know what's going to happen, but this guy does have that spunky feel to it, right? This is kind of depressed. Remember, price is telling a story. It's got that funky, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're going. We're pushing up against these guys. We don't know what is going to happen next. Okay. See, this is good. This is good stuff. And this is what being a trader is about. Now, let's say, you're thinking about getting long here for that, or you're thinking about getting short, but it's got that spunkiness. Now, just watch with me. If I'm following swings up. I'm following swings up right now. I'm following these swings up. It's looking like we are getting ready to expand this guy to the upside. All right, so we watch. This is a swing. We watch. Hard up. Imagine you're long. What does that feel like if you were long? Uh-oh. Okay, I neglected to give you his second trade, which he got in over here. Short. He saw this, didn't really worry about it, said we're still going down, I'm going to get a stop above this guy. Do you guys see this? So now I'm going to talk a little bit about, being a trader, right? Look at that. That's a little different, isn't it? Okay, so you're short, you make some money, you get stopped. You're short again. And that is it's rolling, right? Look at it. It's just rolling over. Everybody see the difference? Look, there's nothing like it. You guys see that? There's nothing like this. This is like Godzilla just stood there on the offer, right? We were happy, and Godzilla just sat on this thing. I mean, they're just sitting on it. Okay. So he's short again. Happy, right? He made some money. He's making some money. Happy, right? I want you to feel this. Don't think about it, but feel that structure there, especially if you were long. I don't even know what to call it. Right? It's a coil, but they were just so happy, and somebody just stomped on it, and now they're heading down. So he's still going for lows now. Now they're back. Right? They're there. And he stopped out. So what happens now if you got a market that's going down? You've tried to short it twice. You've got decent location. You got some money. If you've tried to short this market twice, it looked just like the ES, right? The ES, hell, it doubled down. You tried to short this market twice. Now what do you do? This is where I'm going to talk about the learning aspect and what it is to be a trader. You can be frustrated, cry in your soup. You've got days in this thing, right? Nate says, what should we do or what do we actually do? I'm asking everybody to look at what you normally do in this case. You've shorted it twice. You got good location. It was just like that ES. It was just like the other Vs we looked at. The CAD just did a very good one and went down lower, beautiful one. And you got shorted, right? You saw this 3 times. You learned it. You did it. You got short twice. And first we look at what we normally do. We probably get a bit frustrated that we got good location. We went down. We're following price, just like Shane says. And boom. What he did, he's very relaxed now. He's ready to get long. Now, if you're looking at this market that just, and you're kind of pissed also, right, Grace? Because you quit doing the tries because you kept getting hammered. You know what I'm saying, Grace? You quit doing these tries because you kept getting hammered on them. And now look at it. The one you wanted to do, right? Just when, right? You know the feeling I'm talking about? Yeah. You quit doing those because you're getting smacked. That's okay. This is also getting stuck in the past with and reframing things in past situations. But that's okay. It's a good idea to quit if you're getting smacked. But now you need to wake up and look. And don't bemoan that this one worked. If I want to get long now, okay, where do you think a good place to get long is? And this relates to our pressure cooker work and all that other work. Where do you think a good place to get long is? Where the gap swapped? Which gap, Nate? What are you talking about? Where it took off? Now, there's things that happened on this chart that we didn't understand or we couldn't predict. You know what? I got to tell you, when I see this thing lift from here like this, I'm thinking there's no way it ain't going up here, right? When I see that, I'm thinking there is no way that this thing is not lifting now. And then it did that, and that just threw me for a loop. I don't know what to do now. Okay, I was wrong. I guess I got to go down. And then it did that. Now, if I get thrown for a loop 2 or 3 times like that, and I just sit in my confusion, I'm in trouble. where it busted. What about where Godzilla sat on it, guys? See? Forget squeezing something in that's one of our things, right? Our pressure cook. What about where Godzilla sat on this thing? Do you guys see that this was different than everything? This is them showing you, if you're listening. What about where Godzilla sat on this thing? And yeah, right, where it zooms through, but that's it. It's these guys that count, right here. And will they count tomorrow? You can't just like make a little structure that looks like this one day and try to squeeze it in. This is trading now, right? Where they got beat. Look at how they rolled these guys. This is effort reversed. This was and I spoke to this a little bit on Monday. This was the unique key to this particular market. Right here. Now, a line was also a key. Space. Right? Whether you drew it perfectly or not, a line was also key. Maybe you drew it more perfect than I did. Doesn't really matter. Right? The more perfect we try to be, the harder things are going to be on us. But this, right, if you can spot that, you got double whammied here. And we can memorize this and try to plug it in, but the market's going to talk in a different language every single day. And I might not have got to the point I was trying to get with Grace about this look like that. We want to start there, but we also don't want to get trapped, right? We want to start with a pattern recognition in our mind. Oh, I've seen that before. That's a good start, but we don't want to just stop there. We don't want to stop there. We don't want to draw a conclusion there because we can get into the problem of reframing things like that. And yeah, V is about the same size. You can see that. And Phil, if that's all you saw, that's all you needed, right? Boom, boom, right? That's action reaction, isn't it? Boom, boom. V is about the same size. If that's all you saw, that's all you needed. And so we just need to see that it can be as simple as I tried to get short 2 or 3 times. It ain't working. It can be that simple. And so that's giving up your resistance. And one of the other things about, maybe getting stuck in framing things, everybody here has a different background in trading. Some of you doing Wyckoff, some of you doing Elliott, some of you doing whatever. And a lot of times when you hear me, you're taking what I'm saying and squeezing it into the Wyckoff or the Elliott box. And so you might be missing some things because you're squeezing it into that box. Now, if you squeeze things into a box like that, you're going to obviously miss a few things. And it's normal. We all do it. We all do it. But this is being a trader. All right? I got short twice. Oh, okay. Now he's ready to get long. Now he's ready to get long. And then we're ready to learn from this market. Then we're ready to learn from this market. All right? Now we're swinging. There's a little minor mountain. Now we're ready to learn from this market. Now we're ready to say, all right, what are we doing here? We're swinging, so on and so forth, until it's over. I don't know what the key is going to be in a market at any given time. I think this looks like that same thing, except it didn't have Godzilla sit on them. And then Godzilla got swallowed up by, what was the turtle's name? Come on, I forgot. Gamma something? Do you guys remember that? So Godzilla got eaten by somebody here. Mothra? Okay, we'll go with Mothra. Godzilla, he didn't usually get He didn't usually get his butt kicked by Mothra, but this time, Godzilla got swallowed up. So those of you who remember watching those old stupid shows. Gamera? Was it Gamera? No, there was something like that, huh? I loved the flying turtle. That's the one I liked. Spitfire and everything. All right. So I guess we didn't do a whole lot on instructional lessons today. I promise we'll do it on Friday, but let's keep working. Let's keep working. Because this is also trading, guys. This is also trading. Let's keep working because we got some things to follow up on. I want a simple view in things, right? This is the CAD. Ugh. We're going down. So, homework is learning Godzilla monster names. There you go. There you go. You remember all of Godzilla's foes, and don't go watching the new movie. That's no good. You got to watch the old, 70s flicks. You got to learn all of Godzilla's foes. We can just look at the CAD here, all right, and try not to get trapped in baits. See, we just watched a try that worked, and that doesn't mean this try is going to work. Everything's in a bit of a different situation. Everything. So if you're here, all right, and obviously this market, it had a little bit of juice, and it just said no. It just said no way. We're not going to do that anymore. It just said forget about it. But you're here. Draw a simple line. Can you see a line going down? Just use the highs. Guys, just use the highs. Draw a line going down. It might not be a perfect, make it a zone if you want. It might not be a perfect line. And then watch what happens if price gets here. It's not all that hard to see, like, if you've been paying attention to some of the language, like the big tail, it's bigger than any other tail on the board. And so now we can begin to frame up sellers. What I'm doing here is the same thing I did Monday with the CAD yen. I just looked and said, where are the sellers and buyers? So I draw a line. Now I watch. Oh, big gap up. Oh, I've got them trapped. Just like that stupid last chart. Sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers. I don't know what's going to happen. I can go with, or I can buy the try. Feel the pressure, right? See, now I got a choice. See, now at least I know what I'm doing. I'm either buying this try or I'm selling that, but I'm not denying the facts. And so a lot of our practice is to work with the clash we have between what we want and what is, right? That's what is. Maybe Godzilla is going to pull in. Listen, I can hope Godzilla pulls another maneuver here, and then I'll have an easy long. But I can't count on Godzilla all the time. He's flaky. So I got to work with whatever's happening. See, if I just plug stuff in, I'm in trouble. This is why we're learning the language, so we can read the story. The story is down. The buyers are here. It looks interesting. If I was to do swings, come on, guys, just do a little work with me. What did I just learn? They did not step up. No, they've actually stepped down. All right, so that's information all by itself. There's our V, and we're just holding it. There's our press. We're just mapping. So now, I watch, and I can do some mapping. I'm watching. I have a choice. I can go with. I don't need this. Got one line. Trading can be one line. Will it work all the time? No. This is the story behind the story. This is what this market's doing. It's puking its guts out. They're giving all of this back and then more. And if I'm wondering where price is going, Raj, what can I do, right? I can take this line and I can put it here, or I can put it here. Let's actually just look and learn. So if I do a trade like this, I want everybody to see that this is a really easy trade with not a lot of fancy. Right here. And just because the try worked last time don't mean it'll work this time, because this is a different river. This is a different market. This is a different day. This is a different situation. This is a different person. It's a different everything. And so it can be that easy. Oh, let me just go with the sellers here and I can get a stop. And so if we take this line, that's current. Let's look, Raj, and see what we got. Is it this? Close, huh? Not bad. Now we're in the same position we're in with the ES. We don't know. We could keep expanding down. We don't know. So we'll keep an eye on this market. You can see once the try didn't work, it did a quick back test to this guy. So we'll keep an eye on this market. And let's just keep following the thread we were following on Monday with the Euro Yen and the funky expansion pattern. So let's go to the Euro Yen. And let's see what happened. So let's learn now, okay? So where did we leave this guy off? We left this guy off somewhere around here, didn't we? So do you guys remember the work we did? I think I took a snapshot of it. There. Outside bars, remember we did a whole silent movie, sellers, 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 sellers. Ah, swap. Okay. No, we did the work on this is the one we did. Nate, the CAD yen. Pretty sure because I traded it. And remember what I did was I walked this through. Remember we started following outside bars in this guy. And then I walked this through just a very simple box here of, you know, sellers, 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 swap, right? If it doesn't want to go down anymore. No symbols on my chart. I didn't add. Oh, thank you, Edward. See, I was trying to make sure when I did that last little project, that last little chart, I wanted to make sure you didn't look at it and automatically start related to something, because we have a tendency to do that. So I took the symbol off so you didn't say, oh, this is the yen. That's what it did, because I wanted to see it fresh. All right, so we got symbols back. Thank you. So we're on the CAD yen, and so we did this on Monday. Boom, 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 boom. And then we talked about a little outside bar here. Now let's learn what happened. And if you remember, all we did was take a significant structure, find where the sellers were sitting on it, walk it through. We looked, remember the Godzilla thing? We looked at the tell in this market. This was the tell. This was the poker tell right here. Boom. This was the tail that we were going for sure. Boom. Right there. This was the last bit of effort. This is where these people put their foot down underneath this guy. And then we looked at swings, and we used this guy as a swing, like that. And then we looked at landing back into our buyers, and then we looked at minor swings and a little bitty outside bar. And we left it off, I don't know, somewhere. So let's see what happened. All right. So let's see what we can learn from this guy. We used the outside bar and found, we just looked. Remember, we started blank and just looked. And we used this significant structure. And we found all these guys. We walked it through the sellers. And there's a feel to it. There's a feel to the whole thing. And we saw where they just put their foot down in here and went boom. And then as we approached the zone, we used this minor LSB as a confirmation that we've turned up somewhat, right? And then this is what price did. So what did we learn from this? We learned that this was a solid area. So let me ask you guys. So we see what it ended up doing. Okay? So what do we now learn from this? Anybody can just jump in here. Because this was a trade for me. I need to learn too. And if you think I'm not learning with each trade, nobody? We learned something about the swap. We learned something about them pressing down, changing behavior, and landing back in the same neighborhood. Let's look at where price did not violate. Price did not violate that. So we learned something about where an appropriate stop needed to be. Do you guys get that? It did not go beyond this guy that sent it up. It's true. It didn't go beyond this guy that sent it up. So we learned something about a stop needed to be there. We also learned that this confirmation right here ended up to be useless. So there's two things we learned there. It did turn that beautiful confirmation, that outside bar right here, on a smaller scale. It's possible for that guy to be useless. You guys follow me on that? We're not building a system here. We need to learn. I put this little confirmation. I use this over and over and over again. But we need to learn this. On this particular chart, it was useless. What was useful? The flow swap. What else was useful? Appropriate stop, right? This tail, and that would be appropriate stop, Nate. It's not just any tail. It's kind of where they made their decision in here. And that points us to where we might need to do some learning as to what an appropriate stop is. Press structure through the decision zone. Yes, we see that. But the main things to learn from this is Because we can get caught up in being very surgical here. Throw a little 20-tick stop and you get stopped out. We can get caught up in being very surgical here. And it can screw up a really nice trade. Now, sometimes you just can't afford the stop and you get stopped and ticked out. That doesn't mean you shouldn't learn where an appropriate stop is. Because remember what I say, there's basically three things you need for a trade. Appropriate flow, I mean, you got to be going the right way. If you don't have an appropriate stop, it ain't going to help. Boy, I need to get new glasses for my new glasses now. Can't see these things. There we go. Appropriate frame. Three things for a trade. Now, I'll use confirmations, right? Yeah, I need to set the text larger, don't I? Thank you for that simple observation, Edward. It looks funny when I set it larger. That or I can bold it, huh? All right. Maybe I'll set them larger. Duh. Larger helps, right, Grace? All right. Hang on. Let me just do this now. There. Problem solved. Duh. Sometimes I need you guys to help me with my trading like that. Okay. Everybody get this, though? Right? You can't just count on this all the time. And sometimes the being surgical gets in the way. We do need to learn where an appropriate stop in any market is, and that will be a little bit different each and every time. So we got the flow right. We got the stop right. This was useless. If I count on this all the time, I'm going to be disappointed. It turned out to be useless. Didn't work out for me. A lot of noise in this swing. Turned out to be a little useless. If I worked the bigger swings, I would never have got an entry. But you saw me work a market from, this point and start to think about it. And then it helps if you were looking at this thing live. Target. Boom. Long as you didn't get ticked out. Let me propose another problem trading-wise. Let's say that stop is a little bigger than what you normally use. Okay? What are our options? Because in this case, the stop is a little bigger than I normally use. Okay, I normally in this market I'm going to go 30 ticks max, right? But let's say you need to get under here. What are your options? So let's just talk a little bit of nuts and bolts management. Because there's no one right way. Anybody? You like the market, you got the flow, you know where the stop is. We have some options to do. We need to think about these things. So I want to give us options that we can then test out. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying we have options. Phil says we can use our maximum stop and just wait for it, right? Like that. That way we get underneath where we got to get underneath. Yes. All right, that's one option. This comes with the risk of, geez, I'm about to miss this trade right here. It's not a bad option though, right, Phil? It's not a bad option. We don't know what's going to happen. What's another option? Now, this is all turning on the presumption that you know where your stop needs to be. We can wait for it to build a stop. Well, I kind of let it build the stop right here, Phil. Okay, I did. I let it build a stop right here. So we can go ahead and get in and use this minor build a stop. And know that our 30 ticks is going to be right close. Because, you know, you're not going to get in that bar, right? You're going to get in something like this. And you're going to know your 30 ticks is real close. All right? So I've let them build a little stop here. So I still have options I can do. I can say, all right, you know what? I'm just going to go in and use my maximum stop. That's my other option. I know we all want one way to do it, and you should probably find a way that works for you and stick to it, but let's open this up. I mean, there's a lot of books that say you should do this and do that and do that, and it's all dogma, and no one way is going to always fit. Generally, when I feel a market this well that I was doing with you guys, I want to be in this market. And I'm willing to open my stops up a little bit. So there's another little option we can do. We can open our stops up a little bit, okay, to get where we need to get. And we're taking a bigger risk. And then collapse that risk at a logical point. So for me, to open that stop up, to collapse this risk at a logical point would be now I'm seeing that these guys are hitting it, so I want to hang on to it. Now I'm going to want to start collapsing this risk. Okay, now I'm going to want to start collapsing this risk. I'm going to want to start collapsing this risk back to where I'm at, because now I'm rolling pretty good. You know, now I'm rolling pretty good. So that's the next option. You can use an oversized stop, and then you can collapse your risk. Now that ain't for everybody. If you have a discipline, stick to your discipline. If it doesn't fit your max, don't take the trade. That's up to you. One day we'll cover all of these options in some detail. All right. One more little subject. We followed this euro, and it went just what we talked about. Back to the mountain, right? Expand. You guys see it? This is either going to be a bait or the reverse. It's something we can watch live. We talked about this going on a bigger time frame. It's making a bait. It was grinding. And like Nate said, there's no way you can really get a 3-to-1 trade in this. It's going, right? But we also got to be a little circumspect when we want to jump on right away. Because maybe it's just making a little expansion. What we were talking about was this little pattern here. This grinding, this pressing, this grinding, this pressing up. And the thing falling, this is just for learning purposes. We set it up live so we can see it happening live. And now price is here. Let's look at one more. Can you see it here in the Aussie? Let's set this up. All right, can you see it here in the Aussie? Can you see the let's go up, let's grind these little swings. Everybody see that that's the model? You saw that, Nate? Right? This one was perfect. So we can see it here in the Aussie. We see this is, this is the neighborhood where, they broke them off right here. And so you draw a line, and you can see this is a contraction. Now, when this happens, this is what we spoke about on Monday. This gets everybody so juiced. There, look at this. We have 3 drives. I read this in a book somewhere. 3 drives to a reversal. This gets everybody so juiced. Nate says it was so perfect I didn't take the long. That happens to us, doesn't it, Nate? And this is also, right, it was kind of perfect, wasn't it? Yeah, just kind of falling into this neighborhood in here, right? This one actually fell into the upper neighborhood. All right. Do you see, if you're hot to trot for the short, what you're going to do? You can see it. If you're hot to trot for the short, you can see what you're going to do here. Right? You can see it. This is such a beautiful tale. This is such a beautiful thing when it happens like this, guys. And this is why I brought it up on Monday, because I saw the markets setting these things up. And it's just that little pattern. This market wants up. And then the minute it does that, you get all the reversal. Oh, it's a reversal day. Now, it might be. It might be. And that's a logical place to take it there. But structure-wise, see, let's turn the tables a little bit. Structure-wise, this is your wash and rinse. And anywhere along here is a good place for long. You still might not get your 3-to-1, but structure-wise, that's it. Look at them pressing, pressing, pressing. And you can watch them, and then they go. And now we go to the upper line. And so you're also seeing how some of the line work comes into play here, right? You can see how some of this line work just comes into beautiful play here. And that's what that looks like. Press, press, press. Type 1. Type 2. Type 3. Type 2 is it. So we just expanded. It's still just swings. It's still just swings. We just expanded these little guys and made a big boy swing. That's all. And let's get curious about the big boy swing. Right? That fits nicely. And this didn't take a whole lot of work, especially, it doesn't matter if you traded it or not. I'm happy if you saw it happen live, because you're one of the only people in the world that saw it happen and understood it happening. Everybody else was busy posting cartoons on StockTwits. And so the more we understand these, it becomes a part of don't worry about memorizing it. It becomes a part of your experience, part of your learning, part of learning the language of price. It can reverse. Now, I want you to see what this looks like in the relative form. Remember what I said this is going to look like. It's going to look something like this. You got price going up, and then you got price pressing, 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 and then you got price baiting down. So it's important for us to learn this language eventually. Because when I see this, I see this. When I see this, I see this. And that takes some practice. That takes some training. It's going to be up to me to get going and initiate that training again. And the CL did just the same kind of a thing, right? Now let's look. Let's just get curious here and look, right? See, this is a bait. Let's up this in time frame. Let's use like a daily, see what the daily looks like. No, let's use a 480. There it is. You guys see it? You guys see the bait? A lot of the work we do falls into all sorts of other work. This is like the press, okay? But you see the bait, you see it drop. And when it gets here, this is the possible. When it gets to this bar, this is the possible reversal trade. Right there. So that's what that looks like. There's the boom, right? I know this is kind of a bit of an advanced work here. And a lot of times this is what markets will do on the upside or the downside. They'll be pressing like this and then give a big bait that tricks everybody, especially those 3 drive suckers, and then it's all over. And those little baits can be fun. Let me see if I can find another one in here. Those little baits can be fun when you see them, right? Because they just press, press, press. And if you can get the right side or get an indication, then it looks like this. Boom, boom. Sometimes I want to play the reversal of this. Sometimes, like in this case, I really just like the wash of this. And we can see where it cracked, right? Where it cracked the tree branch at the top of the gap became the structure. Now let's look at the euro live. There's the tree branch. It wasn't a perfect action-reaction, right? But this is where they gave it the old college try. And so now we're in a reversal here. And guess what? We don't know in this euro if, see, this euro's in this, we're going to finish here, but imagine, use your mind's eye. What position is the euro in these kind of bars now? So this is this. This is this. And this is this. And this is this. That's the position the euro in. It's in a possible bait, Grace, right? It's in a possible bait. So you see all this? All of this is liable to be this. It's an impossible bait. I kind of like this one for the reversal myself. Unlike the Aussie, right? If we drew the little wash and rinse, see? The Aussie beat it. The Euro did not beat it. So it's logical. Let's look at this on a daily, see if it looks good. Is a bait good or bad? A bait is just neither good or bad. Think about it this way. They're driving up. And if you've ever watched price action, you see them. They're driving up, and then there's a quick drop, and it gets people excited. And I call it a bait because it gets people excited, the quick drop. And then it runs back up. And so a bait, see this, Grace? I call that a bait, right? Boom, See when it comes down really quick, it's like a little lizard tongue. It just zoom. If you have orders there, you don't even get hit. It's just a quick, see how it drives up, and then you get a quick boom, boom, right? You see that? And I call that a bait. It pops the last bar, it pops the thing, and it usually does it fast, right? There's a feel to this, Grace. That's why I call it a bait. I mean, it's baiting people. It's eliciting people. It's like a streetwalker, okay? It's eliciting people, and everybody gets so juiced when this thing is all red. And then it starts to climb up. And so it's neither good or bad. It's in a position of a possible wash. But if you're ever watching the bars, you'll see this, right? You'll see it like right here, right? You know, starts to take off. And then all of a sudden, this bar is flat out red. Remember, at some point, this bar is down here. It's looking like this. At some point, it's down here. It's like, and it's usually fast. And generally, it's because the breakout traders are getting suckered in some way. And then, whoosh, it does that. And so these people got baited. Same with these guys. See? Bait. And on a bigger level, Grace, it's really just a swing. That's all. Just a swing. Let's look at this on a bigger time frame so we can watch it also. There you go. You see the possible bait? In progress. Right? We don't know. We don't know yet. It's all possibility. On a bigger level, this is what we marked out on our daily chart. On a bigger level, this is a really big bait. This is a really big bait. That's why we marked it in yellow, this big tail. We were talking about tails. We marked this when we did this live. And we said if price ever gets up here, they got to deal with this Godzilla. And we followed this chart. I think we were working on pressure cookers, and we said, look at that bait. Look at the way they, yay! So on a big level, it's just like this bait. And then straight back up again. And so now, we don't know, right? We'll see. On a smaller level, that's what it looks like. But when I see this, I see this. And now, even though I don't know what price will do, I have options to take trades, long or short. And so hopefully that answers whether a bait's good or bad. Really, nothing's good or bad. It's just another reference point to read price. Thank you, Edward. He's posting Godzilla, King of the Monsters by Raymond Burr. That was it. Raymond Burr. Good old Raymond Burr. So we'll see. We'll watch. We'll observe. And that's it. We went long. That's it for this session. We'll get back to our process next time. So, I don't know. We learned bunches of things. Look for Godzilla. All right. We can project Godzilla. We can look for Godzilla. And we can look and see when Mothra eats Godzilla. Give us some information. Yeah, good. Not bad stuff today, but we're going to get back to our training. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Phil. One of the biggest lessons was this chart, okay, where I talk about being a trader and learning. Okay, you got short a couple times. It didn't work. Don't go cry in your soup. If it shows you something, adjust yourself quickly. That's being a trader, not just pumping a line in there. And then the CAD. Go with it or don't go with it. Look for obvious clues. And they come up a little different. That's why we're learning the language here. So thank you, Edward. We'll see you guys on Friday. Take care.